Good morning, everybody, and a happy Monday morning. It is Labor Day. I was debating whether to put one up today, but okay, I did. So we have barely any royal news because remember, the royals are on vacation, which I think is the reason that Meghan chose this particular week to put out her show so that she wouldn't have the competition. But there is some interesting stuff in here still. So we're going to cover all that before we get to our review. Okay, let's go. Let's start out on August 28th at Balmoral Castle. King Charles and Queen Camilla held a concert of music performed at the 2023 Honours of Scotland service. The Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh and Princess Anne and Vice Admiral Sir Tim Lawrence were present. All right, next up, this article came out, and for some reason, I have absolutely no problem believing this. We do know that Harry and Meghan are starting to have some financial problems, and so it's being said that one of the reasons that Harry is trying to get back in with his father is to make sure that he's not financially cut off. Besides losing security, Harry and Meghan lost the Crown's financial support in 2020. It was withdrawn. Remember what Harry said in the Oprah show? My father cut me off at the end of the quarter. Forgot to mention that his mother left him. He had like $16 million sitting in the bank, but they were financially cut off. So the idea is that Harry should get his foot back in the door before King Charles dies, because if he doesn't, William absolutely will have nothing to do with him, and he knows that there will be absolutely no way back once William is king. It's like the penny didn't drop for Harry until he lost his last legal push. And now he's like, wait a minute, this isn't going well for me. Now, herein lies the crux of the problem. If Harry goes back to his family, they could turn him against Meghan, and then where will she be? But if he goes back into the fold, he'd be the breadwinner, and she could stop trying to hawk, so many things. So, of course, it's come out in the news that Harry is set to meet Charles while he's in the UK during the anniversary of Diana's death. I personally don't believe this is going on. I think that this was leaked by Harry and Meghan to, send a message to Charles, I want to meet you. If they do meet, which I'm questioning, I don't believe they'll be alone in the room. I think Camilla will be there. Somebody will be there to make sure that Harry behaves himself. Personally, the fact that Harry leaked this again and the fact that they're attacking William again, let's be honest, Harry could have flown under the radar at any time to visit his father privately. He could have. He's using this as another way to bash the family. I mean, that's why I think this isn't going to work, even if it was going to happen. All right, let's move on. All right, let's move on to this next article that talked about Harry and Meghan's next move. You guys remember in the Netflix docuseries when Meghan did that ridiculous curtsy where she basically mocked the Queen? And it got lots of views, whereas Meghan's With Love Meghan is not doing well. And they're saying that the fact that it's flopped should ring some alarm bells for the royal family, because now it's clear that unless they're trashing the rest of the family, Harry and Meghan have no currency and no access to Netflix or anybody else's millions, especially now that their former $100 million deal has been reduced to an arrangement that simply leaves Netflix with the option of first right of refusal. So this domestic goddess Meghan isn't doing well. It's not cutting the mustard. And so they're going to have to attack the family again. Cue the alarm bells, because Harry is going to do a documentary about Princess Diana on the 30th anniversary of her death. Definitely scary. Imagine the script these articles talk about. Scary. My mother and I joyfully sliding down the water slope at Thorpe Park, me just 12, tearful and distraught, being forced by the cruel royal family to walk behind my mother's coffin. No mention of William, of course. They'll leave William out of it. He has, of course, been, relegated to the role of Harry's nemesis, a horrible villain. Could you imagine? Harry sitting through the funeral service, listening to Uncle Spencer's eulogy. My sister Diana was the very essence of compassion, of duty, of style, of beauty, and the most hunted woman of the modern age. Then, of course, we know there'll be more attacks on the horrible royals and the media, not mentioning, of course, that Diana herself used to use the very same media throughout her life to promote herself and demean Charles and Camilla. And that's just the beginning. I mean, Harry's going to have the whole world crying over his suffering in the My Mum Netflix documentary. I totally believe it. Don't know where Meghan's going to fit into this narrative, but she'll somehow insert herself into this story. Probably how she was his savior from the cruel, dysfunctional royals. And how Harry suffered unimaginable torment with the loss of his mother, and he should rake it up over and over and over again for everyone's sake. But the truth is, he's likely to squeeze out every last drop of his victimhood to carry on making millions, and the royal family should be getting nervous about this. Now, I found it interesting on Twitter that this person, Lee Cohen, wrote 2 years ago an article how Harry and Meghan have basically killed their chances in Hollywood, including Netflix. And it's true, her second season is a total flop. I mean, even the Times of London said it was like being waterboarded. But remember, according to Meghan, she's getting bad reviews. These people really like her. It's just what they're doing in public. But secretly, they really like her. I mean, Netflix's engagement report for the first half of 2025 showed that her show came in 389th on the most watched list, and Peppa Pig came in at 41. Even her old Suits legal drama came in higher than her. But also, you know what placed higher than her? Something called The Search for Instagram's Worst Con Artist. The Times said that she seems insincere. She's hosting friends at a house that isn't even hers, but it come to find out she hasn't even met some of these friends before. I mean, she met Chrissy Teigen on Deal or No Deal, but they haven't seen each other for 20 years. I mean, really? They said it's so bland, repetitive, and inauthentic, it could actually be AI. You guys remember in the last episode where she made the apple butter and she was talking about family? When they were sitting around that table, she actually says, sometimes you get caught in the daily road, eat, rinse, repeat, go to work, do the... And her voice trailed off because I think she realized she was describing a life of normal drudgery that she doesn't have. Anyway, you can look online. Her show is in free fall. The views suck. But remember, according to her, that's because you guys really like her and you're secretly going home and making her recipes. It's crazy. And now she's merching again. We're merching the flowers. We're making sure that everybody knows where the flowers came from the incessant flower arranging. And Princess Carparkle on Twitter found that in one episode alone, Meghan was wearing over $16,000 in clothing. And yet she wants everybody to believe that she's relatable. I mean, what a joke. So let's go back to her guests. We know Chrissy Teigen told a girl to have a dirt nap. She's a bully. We know that Tan France got one of his coworkers fired that he didn't like. And now she's up to J Shetty and his wife. I talked about J Shetty several videos ago. If you don't want to recap, skip forward 1 minute and 30 seconds. But if you haven't watched it, watch this. That is this J Shetty guy. He claimed he was a monk for 3 years and he gave up monkhood to write and create with purpose. Well, at some point, Esquire magazine decided to do a piece on him and they started, digging into his background. Now, remember, his knowledge is based off of his studies on religion, and he told everybody he went off to study with the monks for 3 years, and after having a monk come to his university and speak there. This guy has claimed that happened when he was 18, then 22, then 21. He can't keep his story straight. Then somebody he dated stepped up and said, you remember how he said he dropped everything and he went to India for 3 years to study? Well, come to find out, he actually lived as a monk in London. And first of all, when you're a monk, you're supposed to be celibate. And he obviously was not. He's also been hit with accusations of plagiarism coming from other people's YouTube and Instagram videos. Wow, this guy is sounding more and more like Meghan Markle. And remember how Harry's at Gettr up doing the life coaching? Well, come to find out, this guy was offering the J Shetty certification school. That's right, where for $7,400 a term, you could take a self-help course that gives you a master's degree in life coaching. It turns out the school's accreditations are questionable at best. Several universities were listed on the website as accepting his master's degree, but when the person doing the article actually called these universities, they said, no. One of the universities in the UK put out their own statement. So do I think he's perfect for this show? Yes, because he's just like Meghan Markle. He's a liar and a plagiarizer and a scam artist. Well, I think this guy is perfect for the show because he's a con artist. He's perfect, just like Meghan. All right, let's go into our review now. So episode 5 opens up, they're in an olive grove, and Meghan's going on about how many varieties do you have? How many trees do you have? When was this planted? There's a cat on the property. We hear all about the cat. And then, of course, the camera pans over and you see Meghan's friend. And this is the only time that she appears in this episode. You think she's a regular guest, but she's not. And it's Jamie Kerm Lima. Interestingly enough, it looks like she's wearing the same bracelet that Meghan got from Trevity Trev. Very interesting. Anyway, they're outside, then they're inside, and they're watching the oil being made. And Meghan's like, oh, this is so cool. Oh, wow. Like watching oil being made is like the biggest deal of her life. I've never seen anybody try so hard to look like they're having fun doing something boring. So all of a sudden now the music is playing and boom, she's back in the kitchen and we see scenes from the outside of the house that's not hers. She says J Shetty and his incredible wife Roddy are coming over. And I'm excited because I don't do a lot of vegan cooking. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't she say she was vegan at one point? And they're both vegan and they're an amazing couple. Well, I met them about a year and a half ago at a dinner party at my friend Victoria's house. She continues on, we have a lot of guests that love a glass of wine and a lot of guests who don't. So my friends who don't drink, I want them to have something that feels really special and flavorful and not just, oh, can I get you water? There's a lot more you can have outside water that feels inviting and fun. And then she proceeds to make a drink for them. Jay is a best-selling author and podcaster who focuses mostly on personal growth. And Roddy is a plant-based cookbook author and Ayurvedic practitioner. I hope I'm saying that right. And basically she throws fruit, lemon juice, and water into a glass and goes, here's the drink. Oh, and then she throws some ice cubes in that she's made. Guess what? Yup, they have the flowers in them. And she's made ice cubes with basil and rosemary so that as they melt, they'll infuse flavor. Now, if you notice, she had ice tongs, but she didn't use them. She put her fingers all over them. I was like, and then when she put the glasses down, I noticed the sound, they were plastic. So they show up. She goes, oh, I made drinks for you after she hugs the stuffing out of them. Cheers. And they're standing around talking about how good the drink is. Oh, it's amazing. You're so sweet. Oh, this is just fabulous. You have to love everything Meghan does or you're not going to be on the show. And Meghan's waving her hand around. I love that even if it's a non-alcoholic drink, you can still dress it up and make it feel special. The wife starts talking about how they do game night every Friday night. And Meghan immediately goes, wait, you do game nights every Friday? You want to come? And Meghan goes, yes. What kind of games do you play? I mean, she was absolutely fishing for an invitation to their house. Meghan goes, okay, I went to an olive oil farm and they're incredible people who care for the land. And I felt inspired to slow down and appreciate this ingredient, meaning the oil. So outside of the olive oil, how do we use it in cooking? What are the things we can do with it? Can we make beautiful soaps and body scrubs? Can we utilize it and really honor the ingredient? How can we nurture it holistically, inside and out? Word salad. And I do want to learn some of your amazing recipes. Let's share some vegan recipes and plant-based food, she says, like the richness of flavors that I think people just crave and don't even know that they would love so much. Music starts playing, they're showing some outdoor pictures, and all of a sudden they're in the craft bar. And Meghan goes, this has been my craft den. And the woman goes, well, it's like a little apothecary. Meghan goes, isn't it sweet? And she basically tells them they're going to be making soap. Now, I was shocked. Because, yes, they're using the olive oil, but they're also using essential oils. Meghan's in the middle of a lawsuit because of her bath salts, thing where she used all the essential oils and she didn't put a disclaimer. Guess what? There's no disclaimer on this one either. So she explains all the stuff is functional and beautiful, and this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it. We're going to do this double boiler, and this is how long it's going to take. And the guy goes, how often do you make soap? And Meghan goes, this is my first time. We're in it together. So basically, she just admitted that she doesn't know anything about these crafts. They're making them up for her for the show. She doesn't do this at home. She knows nothing about it. I'm just like, I can't believe that they even did that. So anyway, they finish up with the soap. You have more shots of the outside of this house that doesn't belong to her, and then they're back in the kitchen. Wife says, I'm making a sweet potato and green bean curry. It's one of my go-tos. It's so easy. And then, of course, they go through all the stuff on how to make it. Meghan says, I'll be your sous chef. And she's cutting everything up. Once again, nobody washed their hands as far as I can tell. And she's wearing all of her jewelry. But I have to say, what I found kind of odd, the wife also is wearing all of her jewelry. She doesn't take it off either. So both of them have their hands in the dough and they're working it and they're full of jewelry. So, of course, they have some chit chat and they move on while they're making all of this. There's then a very long conversation about the depth of flavor and the textures of the food and how you don't feel like you're missing anything. And it's the intentionality of what you bring together. It's the same, word salad we always hear. And once again, you don't get a recipe. You see the spices, but they don't tell you how much to put in. And of course, Meghan talks about Archie. Of course, she does natural healing. So when Archie was born and his belly would hurt, she says that she would take a little bit of hing and put it on his belly button. And to this day, I'm like, get a little bit of hing. It's just that spice. Because, nature's there to heal us. Blah, blah, blah. So the woman starts cooking and Meghan starts talking about browning and caramelizing everything, even though she's not actually doing any of the cooking. Meghan says, it's a tactile experience. It's amazing using all your senses, just like with the soaps earlier. Ugh. So the woman is cooking, putting in spice, and Meghan goes, oh, that's my style of cooking. Just go with your gut. You say that smells, put more in. I don't know. So now they go into making naan, and Meghan goes, I love the love and work that goes into a piece of bread. Now, Meghan puts vegan butter and cilantro on top of the bread. And the husband goes, if it was cut nicely, it would look really good. And Meghan turns around and goes, no, it's great. It's perfect. Like, don't be so hard on yourself, the wife says. And Meghan looks at him and goes, what are you doing? You have a podcast about the complete opposite of this. You're the go-to person to not do the thing that you're doing to yourself. He looks at Meghan and goes, I love that. That's important. And the wife goes, you need to say, I need to practice this. And Meghan goes, that's right. It's an opportunity for growth. So she just lectured a podcast guy about positivity about now he's not being positive. So they finish the food, they plate it up, they start eating. Meghan is got her fingers on the dish, her fingers in the food. Oh my gosh, this is so good. We just did so well. It was the wife who made it. But anyway, they're eating it and then Meghan goes, come on guys, you have to try this. And she lets the staff try it and her fingers are greasy and she's hugging the wife. And I'm like, oh my God, I wouldn't let somebody hug me when they had their fingers in the food and it's all over their hands. That's disgusting. So the sun is starting to go down. Meghan says, come on, let's go check on our soaps. And they show some outdoor shots while the two of them head with Meghan back to the craft barn. And so they go to the craft barn. And the music's playing and they finally get to the craft barn and they open up their molds and they take out their soap and they cut the soap into just the right size pieces to go into cartons so that they can be shared. So they're done and they head back to the kitchen for the surprise. And the surprise is that Meghan made coconut macaroons. And she goes through this whole thing of how to make vegan coconut macaroons. Now, the first thing I notice is that once again, she's wearing her royal signet pinky ring. She makes sure that everybody can see it the way she's holding her hands. But now I'm beginning to realize that these recipes are gotten for her from Netflix, just like the soap thing was gotten for her from Netflix. She doesn't make these things at home. She doesn't know anything about this. Somebody else finds it. Somebody else gives it to her. She makes these recipes and she hands them off as her own, but they're really not. So we go through the whole thing of how to make coconut macaroons. And then she says, ooh, and we're going to dip them in chocolate. And this is how we're going to dip them. And then after she dips them, guess what she does? That's right. Flour sprinkles. So she makes the macaroons, comes out to the kitchen, and then asks the woman to make a chai tea. So the woman goes back to work making this tea, and we watch the whole process. And then, of course, they dip the macaroons in the tea. And isn't this just the best day ever? And she's talking about the texture again of the macaroons. They're dunkable. The episode ends with Meghan going, what a day. We have covered a lot of ground. We have, honestly, spending all this time together and doing it community and connection and good conversation, all the C's. Oh, and your spice blend. Oh, that's just fabulous. And you've been so wonderful today. This has been such a joy. We've got great memories to take with us. You know how that goes. I mean, again, if you're not fawning over Meghan, you don't get on the show. And they decide it's been a special sweet day, and she sends them with olive oil and macaroons, and it ends with Meghan laughing, and the music's playing, oh, she's sweet, she's magic, and I'm like, ugh. This is what I think of, though, when I think of her laughing. All right, you guys, you know what I want. Put those comments down, make them good. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, a link to my second channel, Great Recipes, a link to my father's book, which is still up for sale on Amazon, as well as a link to my Amazon wish list and a physical address. For those of you who have donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.